Hey guys, it's Jess with Technihouse Inspections. I am in a basement and I thought I would talk to you today about foundations and leaking and water. So I'm going to flip this around and we're going to talk about a couple of different kinds of leaking you can see, because this basement is checking a lot of the boxes. So let's get started. So I'm in this basement and right away you can see all those patches on the walls there, all these little holes here. You're thinking, what's wrong? It doesn't have chicken pox. These are called rod hole leaks. They're pretty common in poured foundation walls. This one has quite a few of them and they have been patched, so you can see they were sort of painted over, and I don't see any signs of new leaking since they were painted. So some of them though look like the patch hasn't held, so that needs to be redone because sometimes the fix doesn't always stay. This is another something that I look for when I'm looking at unfinished floors and unfinished basements. That is interesting to note. This basement does not have a sump, so the fix for this is going to be a little trickier. But actually, if you look, sometimes you'll have cracks in the slab. And can you see these watermarks on either side of these cracks here? That's actually water coming up from below that slab. It's hydroscopic pressure. That's water under the slab is pushing it up, and that crack is the way out. So that's what you're actually seeing. So there is times where there is water under this slab and it's coming up through those cracks. I see those watermarks in a couple areas all throughout this basement floor. A lot of times if a basement has a sump pump and I see that, I'll know that it can be an indicator that there was maybe a past sump pump failure because water was building up under that slab and the sump pump wasn't moving it away. So that can be an indicator of that. There is no sump down here. This basement may be a candidate for an interior drain tile system, a basement waterproofing system, because I'll show you some other areas that also you would look for water in a basement. Flip this around. Also, you can see there were some leaking cracks. There were several, so see these long ones here. These cracks were leaking and they were patched. There were a couple of them you can see all the way down along here. There's another one in the corner I'll show you that's still leaking. But here, this is one of a very common place where a basement can leak. Right where your foundation wall meets your basement slab is right here. You can see the seam all along here. And a lot of times, if on the exterior, grading, downspouts, gutters, things are not moving water away from this basement, then it just chases that foundation wall down and it finds that crack right at the slab where it joins it, and it comes up right through there. So it's a pretty common spot actually. And a lot of the time, if it's not too bad, then exterior corrections can fix it. It's always a place I tell people to start unless it's pretty bad. In which case, this basement is dealing with a lot of water all around it. So this may be a candidate for a basement waterproofing system because in this area here that I'm looking at is actually right near the garage. So there's not a lot of grading or anything like that can be done in that area. So this is going to be a trickier basement. I'll go over and I'll show you a crack that needs to be patched still, that is still leaking. So if you walk over here in this corner, you'll see this crack here, and you can see the crack all the way down. No water, no water, no water. Ooh, but it is leaking at the bottom there. So this can be, they'll chisel this out. They'll do like an epoxy type injection in there. It's again, like rod holes, leaking cracks are not incredibly uncommon and they're not very difficult to fix, So this basement, unfortunately though, is checking a lot of the boxes of the ways that basements can leak. So I thought it was a good one to share with you guys. So again, rod holes, leaking cracks, leaking where the floor of the basement joins the foundation wall, and then actually leaking up underneath the slab via hydroscopic pressure. So stuff to keep an eye out for. If you're looking at homes and the basement is unfinished, look at the walls, look at the floor, look where the foundation joins the floor. And then sometimes walk around the exterior of the house and see if you can figure out why it's leaking. If there's tons of water dumping off the roof or puddling against the house there, then it's not a mystery. But if on the outside everything looks pretty good, then you may be looking at a more expensive water management system that has to be installed if you want a dry basement. So I got to get it written up, guys. Take care.